4 people now tied to 3 murders. We have the latest on a cross-border homicide investigation involving surfers from OB. And they are known to provide excellent care to children in the hospital. Why now? Rady Children's nurses are set to strike. Plus, we know we are coexisting, but a man bit by a shark in Del Mar shares how he survived that close encounter. Around San Diego starts right now. Hello and welcome. I'm CBS 8's Jenny Day. Thank you so much for joining us as we take you around San Diego. We'll get you caught up on a week's worth of news and look ahead in less than 30 minutes. We do begin, though, with an update on that triple homicide across the border. Another person is under arrest in connection with the murder of 3 surfers in Mexico. Australian brothers Callum and Jake Robinson and their friend Carter Road were killed just south of Ensenada back in May after a robbery. 2 of the victims lived in Ocean Beach. Now, this 4th person who was just arrested has been identified as 31-year-old Angel Jesus N. He has been charged with homicide. Meantime, Mexican officials have discovered a new cross-border tunnel east of the Otay Mesa border crossing. This video from Televisa shows that Mexican law enforcement at a Tijuana warehouse that advertises food truck rentals. Officials say they've secured this property now. They believe excavations connected this warehouse to an already existing cross-border tunnel. Our other top story for this week, no doubt about it, is the heat. The West Coast heat wave broke record highs in a few locations across California. That includes Death Valley, where temperatures reach 129 degrees. That ties the area's daily heat record set 17 years ago. Redding reached a record 119 degrees this week as well. This historic heat also hit cities like Portland, Oregon, and Las Vegas, where Sin City reached 120 degrees. Finally getting a little bit of relief. Now, this all comes as a new study shows Californians' extreme heat waves have caused more deaths than wildfires and have cost the state billions of dollars over a decade. That's according to the California Department of Insurance. Between 2013 and 2022, 7 extreme heat events had a combined $7 billion in economic impact. That was due to lost wages, power outages, and infrastructure damage. It also estimated these events caused 460 deaths. The state is now working on a new extreme heat ranking system called Cal Heat Score, which is set to roll out next year. Well, nurses at Rady Children's Hospital will go on a 48-hour strike starting Monday, July 22nd. United Nurses of Children's Hospital Teamsters Local 1699, which represents hundreds of nurses, filed their notice of intent on Thursday. It comes after union members voted overwhelmingly in favor of a strike. For months, the union has been negotiating with Rady's for a new 3-year contract. Talks recently fell apart, and the union blames it on, quote, lack of fair wages and adequate benefits. Officials at Rady Children say they have plans in place to be ready to provide care to patients when nurses hit that picket line. Well, the plan for a new safe parking site next to the airport in Point Loma is moving forward. The Coastal Commission approved the H Barracks plan just this week. The city wants to use this site to create 190 safe parking spaces for people experiencing homelessness. That would nearly double the capacity of the city's safe parking program, but it would only be temporary, with construction set to start for a wastewater treatment facility by 2029. And state officials are recommending placing a sexually violent predator into a home in Poway. 67-year-old Merrill Wakefield spent time in prison after being convicted for sexual assaults in the 80s and 90s. The California Department of State Hospitals is recommending he be released to a home on Sycamore Canyon Road in Poway. A court hearing on whether to finalize the decision has been scheduled for August 9th at the Central Courthouse downtown. The public can submit comments and questions before that hearing. We do have all of that information you need on CBS8.com. Well, a California state senator is pushing a petition to fight back against high utility costs. It comes after the California Public Utilities Commission recently approved a new fixed fee on our monthly bills. CBS 8's Shannon Handy is working for you and shares how you can get involved. The petition is being led by a Republican senator out of Yucaipa. It calls on the CPUC to reconsider its decision and reject increases to your monthly utility bill.
Many of them are extremely concerned about the cost of living in California.
That's among the top complaints Senator Rosa Licia Ochoa-Bo hears from her constituents, specifically the price of utilities. Senator Ochoa-Bo represents the state's 23rd district, which covers parts of Riverside, San Bernardino, and Los Angeles counties. People there get gas and electricity from SoCal Edison, but like SDG&E customers here, they'll also be impacted by the CPUC's approval of a $24.15 fixed fee to go into effect in 2025. The CPUC maintains the move will cut the price of electricity and reduce bills for lower-income customers. Senator Ochoa-Bo isn't convinced, which is one of the reasons she started this petition to fight against it. Another motivating factor is to inform the public on how rates are set and by whom, in this case, a board appointed by the governor.
All Californians should know what's going on in the state of California and how they're being impacted by these decisions.
So far, 6,000 people have signed the petition. Earlier this week, Senator Ochoa-Bo delivered those signatures to the CPUC. Moving forward, she encourages more people to get involved by not only signing the petition, but also encouraging other legislators to speak out.
Imagine if all legislators, all Californians were aware, signed a petition and sent it to the commission, sent it to their local legislators, and sent it to the governor. It would put pressure to ensure that we have more accountability.
Edward Lopez, Executive Director of Utility Consumers Action Network, applauds the effort.
You know, the commission's job ultimately is to be a regulator, to check the utilities and make sure that any proposed rates and increases and hikes are reasonable. I don't know how we can be much more clear, except perhaps being much more louder, that the commission really needs to step up and perform its first and foremost job.
UCAN has been tireless in their efforts to bring down rates and block the implementation of a fixed fee. Lopez says while this petition has no legislative recourse, he hopes as more people speak out against the CPUC and their decisions, eventually something will change.
It's an uphill battle in the least. We won't give up the fight.
You can find a link to the petition on CBS8.com. Just click on this story. Working for you, I'm Shanna Handy for CBS 8.
Shannon, thank you as always. Well, we are hearing now from the 46-year-old man who was bitten by a shark off the coast of Del Mar last month. We are also learning more about that shark. CBS 8's Steve Price breaks down what new DNA results are revealing.
DNA results are in on the shark that bit swimmer Caleb Adams last month here in Del Mar. We now know it was, in fact, a white shark, about 6 to 7 years old, so still considered a juvenile. But what we don't know from those DNA results is if that shark is still out here right off our coast.
They're probably one of the most mysterious and interesting animals on the planet.
Dr. Chris Lowe, director of the Shark Lab at Cal State Long Beach, says they tested DNA from Caleb's wetsuit.
The DNA came back as positive for white shark, and that's not surprising based on the magnitude of the bite. And based on the bite marks, we estimate that shark was approximately 9 feet long.
That was pretty eye-opening to think about how big this animal really was.
Caleb also got the DNA results and updated me today on his condition. Despite the shark biting him in the chest, physically, he's making a great recovery.
I think my wounds reflect that it was only a portion of what the shark could have done. So I consider myself, again, really lucky in kind of every scenario seems to show up that I've had a tremendous amount of luck and goodwill that's allowed me to get through this in the condition I am, even if it was bad, but not worse.
Caleb also punched the shark, causing injuries to his hand, but he showed me that's healing nicely too. And in case you're wondering, yes, he is starting to swim again.
Not in the open water right now, Steve. The pool is where I'm going to be for right now as I try to re-enter some of my old life.
As for why the shark bit Caleb, that is still a mystery.
We don't really know why sharks occasionally bite people. It could be that they're biting because they're in a feeding mode and they mistake us as food, or it could be that they bite us for defensive reasons.
Lowe says sharks prefer to eat bottom feeders over humans.
We are definitely not on the menu because if sharks like to eat people, Southern California would be a Costco for sharks, right? We just don't see that.
Lowe says they would also like to do some testing on the water to determine if these juvenile sharks are hanging around the Del Mar area or just passing through. And if they are hanging around, how many are there? In Del Mar, Steve Price, CBS 8.
Ooh, good attitude. Glad he's okay. So while you are at the beach, watch out for stingrays too. We are learning more and more people are getting stung by stingrays this summer in our area. Coronado lifeguards tell us that they've seen 10 to 25 stingray injuries a day over the past few weeks. So what happens if you do get stung? It is important to put that injury in hot water. Doctors say it turns off the toxin from the barb and it will then help alleviate that pain. There's also a popular myth that will do nothing to help with the pain.
That's a myth, yeah. The urinating on it won't really cause much in terms of helping your pain. It's certainly not going to look cool or be sanitary.
Yeah, so lifeguards tell us the best thing to do when getting in the water is the stingray shuffle. That means stirring up the sand as you walk, which then scares those stingrays away. Well, animals lost during the 4th of July that have not been reclaimed are now up for adoption at the San Diego Humane Society. More than 300 stray animals were brought into the shelter just from Thursday to Sunday after the 4th of July. At last check, only 82 have been reclaimed. So the San Diego Humane Society is holding an Empty the Shelters event with adoption fees at just $25. The Humane Society's hours have also been extended to 7 p.m. on Thursdays and Fridays. Well, finally, we did get our first look at San Diego's newest pandas. Meet Yoon Chuan and Sing Bao. They got to San Diego on June 27th. Yoon Chuan is about 5 years old. He has a long and slightly pointed nose and feels at home exploring the grass and climbing on trees. As for Sing Bao, almost 4 years old, she has a large round face with big fluffy ears. Her hobbies include sunbathing and eating. Mine too. So the two pandas will need a bit more time to get used to their new home before you can see them at the zoo, but they are here. Up next, the majority of us try so hard to do our part, but in the end, how much of a difference is it really making? We'll show you where our recyclables ended up. Welcome back. Do you ever wonder where your recyclables actually go after you put them in the bin? CBS 8's Neda Iranpour tracks our plastics in this Earth 8 report.
Much of the nation's plastic problem has to do with packaging. Whether it's food, water bottles, cleaning supplies, you might think it's okay to buy this stuff because it's got the triangle. You're going to recycle it anyways. But what really happens once you put all that into the blue bins? Where does it go? We're working for you to track your plastic recyclables. And we found some common items you might have at home. And here's what we're going to do. I got these air tags so I can track their location through my phone. Using heavy-duty glue, I'm putting these at the bottom of each container. I chose your common everyday plastics. I attached an air tag to a water bottle, a yogurt container, an orange juice bottle, and lastly, wipes. I stuck these trackers to the bottom inside of each and made sure the Find My feature on my phone was in sync with them. Now that the AirTag's in this container, I'll put the lid back on. The AirTag looks secure and they're ready to go into the blue bins. I recruited a team of 4 CBS 8 employees. We put the recyclables in different areas of San Diego County. Ryan tossed the water bottle in Oceanside. Colleen put the orange juice bottle in her blue bin in El Cajon. Kenny attempted to recycle the wipes container in Chula Vista, and I put the yogurt container in a bin at a condo complex in University City. And now it was time to track. But first, I wanted to hear from I Love a Clean San Diego on what might happen next. Turns out that's not an easy answer.
Even in San Diego, we have almost a dozen different waste haulers moving, and they all do it differently.
As Executive Director Steve Morris explains, it's not like the plastic makers are working with the waste haulers on all their recycling plans.
Because I think as a consumer, you think that the producers are talking to the waste haulers and they're all sharing information, but it's really not that, right? Everybody has their own business to run.
So let's see what happens with our items. The first one to get hauled away was in Chula Vista, but within the hour of it being put in the blue bin, we noticed it was at a location about a block away, but it was nowhere to be found there, which means it likely got smashed and stopped transmitting. Then the water bottle in Oceanside made it all the way to Orange, California, about an hour north in Orange County. It looks to have stopped at Waste Management's Orange Transfer Station.
That water water bottle could have been sold to a center that is now processing it for recycling.
And then the OJ bottle dropped off in El Cajon was last seen in Lemon Grove at the Edco facility on Federal Boulevard.
They might be waiting there until the truck is full, and then it might get shipped somewhere else or recycled in a different location.
The one in University City was last seen at the exact spot I dropped it off, but when I returned to try to find it, the recyclables had been picked up and there was no sound of an air tag, meaning it also may have broken apart. We may have had some inconclusive results here, but it does show that even the process of trying to recycle leaves its own carbon footprint.
So this is a good story about how our plastic doesn't always go to the same place and it doesn't always get processed the same way.
That's why only an astonishing less than 10% of plastics ends up getting recycled.
We have a term, we call it wish cycling. So everyone puts everything in the blue bin hoping that it's going to get recycled.
At least knowing what to put in your blue bin could increase your chances of getting recycled. The message from I Love It Clean San Diego is it needs to be empty and loose, meaning don't keep anything in these bags, and dry. Also, keep the caps and the lids on. And don't even think about recycling anything flimsy like this. It'll get blown away in the wind machines. Also, items as small as a credit card will not get recycled. And when you're shopping, try to find things in clear plastics. Things that are colored and dyed can only be recycled with similar colors, so they need to color coordinate. Making the job easier for those waste haulers can help ours. For Earth 8, I'm Netta Iranpour.
Yeah, good info, Netta. Thank you. And let's just all continue to do as much as we can. Still ahead, Comic-Con. It provides great people watching and a boon to our local economy. We'll tell you what an extended contract just secured. Well, Comic-Con is staying in San Diego at least through the year 2026. With just 1 year remaining on their contract with the San Diego Convention Center, organizers agreed to a 1 year extension. But they warned that the high costs of hotels could put any additional extensions in jeopardy. According to the Union Tribune, organizers refused to sign a 2-year deal because they said they had not been able to secure enough hotel rooms for attendees at a discounted rate. Comic-Con is San Diego's biggest convention, drawing more than 135,000 people. And it is right around the corner, by the way, starting this year on July 25th. Now, another upcoming event is San Diego Pride, and for the first time ever, we will be airing the parade live on the CW San Diego. You can watch Saturday, July 20th, starting at 10 a.m. We will also be live streaming the parade on CBS 8 Plus and our digital platforms. For more information, head to cbs8.com/pride. Well, that will do it for us. Thank you, as always, for your time. Thank you for staying informed. Have a wonderful weekend. Take good care. For CBS 8, I'm Jenny Day.